So I got the part in Hollyoaks, and I just found the gay village in Manchester. So I was playing a straight character in the show that was super straight. Steve was this scally at the time. It was another horrendous storyline. He was with a girl called Amy, yes. And it was a teenage domestic abuse storyline. And I would go out on the streets in the gay village, and people would be like, "Oh my God, you're gay!" And I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know. So I'd be terrified to tell anybody, and also thinking, but then I'm supposed to play this really straight character, so I'm supposed to hide that I'm gay. I haven't told my parents yet.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when your character first came onto Hollyoaks, you were kind of like this manly stud kind of character. Like you were making the magazines for being like a bit of a looker, and
really.
But
and of course now you're not that.
Listen, I was about 6 down,
eye candy for
massive
the girls.
eyebrows, big ears. No. So I was going around on the streets trying to hide it as well, and thinking more people are asking me, what do I do? And then I ended up doing Dancing on Ice.
Yes.
And I couldn't hide who I was anymore. I guess.
Why? Hang on, wait. What do you mean Dancing on Ice meant you couldn't hide who you was?
Well, I just guess I was showing everybody my actual real personality, and not this horrendous guy at the time, Steve, who was beating up his girlfriend. I was showing people who I was, and then Twitter had just came out, so then
great.
you were seeing a little bit of things online from it. Not anything negative,
so what,
just going, I wonder whether he's gay. Yeah,
right.
Obviously, my family still didn't know at this point, and then a newspaper at the time rang Hollyoaks and said, "We know that Kieron's gay, and we've got 3 gay kiss and tell stories."
Yes. Is this actually what happened?
But this conversation happened while my mother was with us at the time, so she was like, "What? 3 gay what?" And I'm like, "Oh, Mum, let's sit down in the house and talk about this." So I
can't believe this is your coming out story.
Yeah, so we had a discussion with my mum, and it was quite emotional and amazing, because my mum had told me that when my nan was dying, one of the last things that she'd said to her was, "Tell Kieron I know he's gay, he's always been gay, and I love him." And I was like, "Oh, that's one of the last things my nana ever said."
God.
She knew before I knew.
Oh my God.
So it was actually quite special how it happened. But then I had this grievance with how newspapers handle it. So I was like, it shouldn't be like this. A straight person shouldn't be on the front of whatever newspaper saying, "Guess what, guys? I'm straight.
Yeah, totally.
Give me all this money for saying it."
Right.
It's just the ethics about it is all completely wrong. And I wanted to get through this dancing competition just on that, and either not get sympathy votes because people felt sorry for me of how it had happened, or it could have gone the other way. People were like, "Get him out." Oh, I didn't know what was going to happen. I just wanted to get through the show, and that was it.
At what point in the competition were you at this point? Like,
I got all the way to the final. Little old me.
Yeah, baby.
So anyway, I'd done that, finished Dancing on Ice, still didn't tell anybody apart from my family, and it was all fine. And then there was a new producer at Hollyoaks at the time. He'd come in. Obviously, new producers want to come in and change things up, so I don't know if he watched Dancing on Ice, but he was like, "We're going to make Steve gay." And I was like, "What?"
And just like that, it happens.
So, yeah, then I had to think about it and be like, okay.
So did the production knew you were gay at that point?
Yeah, but I don't think it was because he's gay, we're going to make the character
right,
gay. It was just interesting that they knew they were going to do this domestic abuse relationship in a same-sex, and I'd just been the abuser in a teenage relationship, and then they wanted to turn the abuser into the victim, so it all would have tied in together. So brilliant storyline. Went away and thought about it and was like, okay, let's do this. And obviously every single interview that I would have done from that point would have been, "Can you relate to Steve?
Oh,
tell us about your sexuality."
How fed up did you get with that?
Well, yeah, I don't want to lie, so I was like, well, I have to tell people now.
And did you feel a responsibility to be sort of this like gay spokesperson all of a sudden?
Well, the interesting part of it was, before the decision was made of how it was going to happen, a few people in the industry had said to me, "The minute you do that, you will never work again, and that's going to be it. It's going to be the worst thing you could ever do."
Where do they get this
It was
idea
just,
from?
and it wasn't so long ago. It was 2010. Yeah, I think it was 2010.
9 years.
Yeah, and it was so different just back then. There wasn't many gay kisses on television. No. I think in Hollyoaks we'd only had John Paul and Craig do a little peck even at that point. It wasn't like what you see nowadays, so it's changed a lot.
Tea time snogging, as the Channel 4 advert goes.
That I feature in.
I know, you're the first shot on it.
So where are we up to? So we get to coming out in the show, and obviously going to have interviews, so I was like, I'm not going to do it with the newspapers because I'd been upset by them of how it was handled. So I was like, I know, I'm going to be the first person to ever come out on television because no one's done that before, and I like to always be a little bit different anyway.
Love it.
So then we got in contact with This Morning and said we were going to do an interview and this is what we were going to say. So we did it with Holly and Phil, and yeah, I was the first person to ever come out on telly. So from that little boy in school that was so petrified, and to the boy in Dancing on Ice that wanted to hide it, to then just so publicly do it.
Literally put it on the biggest.
I was like, I'm going to own it instead.
Show.
Yeah, and this whole show that we're doing today about don't feel feelings and celebrate different. I've always pushed against the word different, because I feel like, especially in this LGBT world, it's all about equality and we're supposed to be equal and not supposed to be different.